Hi everyone, it's Carla from Casey Creates. I hope everyone is well. I'm here to show you a journal that I created for Evi. She has a YouTube channel, Epsilon Crafts. I'll put the exact name in the description box because she has a YouTube channel and an Etsy shop and a Facebook page, and she does really lovely junk journals. And I had the privilege of swapping journals with her about 3 years ago, and we agreed to do another one. And as I started working on this one, I just really enjoyed every bit of it, and just kept wanting to add more and more and more. And I have to say, Evie, this is probably my most favorite journal I've ever created. I always go at it with more heart when I know it's for somebody else. But this one, not only did I do it to the best of my ability because it was for someone else, but because the theme is just my favorite. And the theme is Autumn Enchanted Forest. And that includes fairies and castles and dreamy things like that. So I've really put my heart into this journal, and so I thought I would come on and do a little project share. It's actually not a little project share. I think it's probably going to be a bit long. So I have my cup of tea, and if you'd like, you can grab a cup of tea, and maybe my video can provide a little, downtime entertainment, I hope, because I'm unashamedly super excited to share this journal with you. So I'm going to take a sip of my tea. And before I get started, if you want to go grab something while I talk about this next part, I just want to show you some of the things that I did to put it together. I made my own little word sheets and printed them on tea-dyed paper. And then I also used some of my favorite paper lines. One is the Graphic Fairies Woodland Friends collection, and it came with these really pretty stickers. There's a glare, and I'm sorry about that. And I've had all of these for so long, and finally have had a chance to put them in a journal. And so I also have the I can't remember, is it written on this one? This one is Damperia, and I think it's Rose Garden. And then, so I used some from that. I have an Etsy digital that I used that I'll point out in the journal. And then these are just some more of the Woodland Friends paper line. And I made this journal, and it just kept growing and growing until I wasn't happy with the big alligator mouth on it. So I had to take some creative liberties and remove some of the ephemera. And one of the things that I made to go in it was, I often like to make an extra notebook. And so I made this pretty notebook where I just took one of the journaling cards from the Graphic Fairies or Graphic 45's paper line and mounted it in the middle. And then I have this really pretty seam binding that's got a crocheted edge, and made a tea dye. Oh no, actually this isn't tea dyed. I used alcohol ink and dyed the pages. I don't think you're going to be able to see the really pale pink pages, but it's a really soft pale pink, and when you put it in the oven it gets nice and crispy. So I stitched in the pages, and so this is just a little extra notebook. Then I made an envelope out of tissue paper, and inside I put a little bookmark. So these are just some of the extra things I thought I'd show you that I couldn't put in the actual journal, because I just want the journal to be a book that Evie can open and use, and not worry about things falling out having to be tucked back in. So these are the pages of that, and this is the back page. I love that floral print. And so some of the ephemera that didn't make the cut was this pretty little envelope with the sparkly leaf, and it opens, and inside I put a little note paper and then some tiny little fun tags inside. And I just think that the more interactive it is, and the more little secret places that you can hide notes and ephemera, the better. So here's a little K&Co die cut, and then this pretty sparkly sequined piece. And then there's just, these are from the paper line, or the digital that I did, that I got off of Etsy, and I stitched around a lot of the tags in ephemera. This is another piece that's, I don't know if you can see, it's got the little vintage fairies, and then I just turned it into a little notepad with tea-dyed paper. This one has a little butterfly punch that I've been anxious to use, and it's just a little fold-out faux envelope with a rose print paper. This one I love. I used the wood grain paper, and there's a picture of some wildflowers on the cover. And then these are some pages that came from the digital. So they are lined paper front and back, which makes a nice little notebook to jot notes down in, or even carry in your purse if you wanted to. And I just stitched it down the middle. This is another tag with an altered paper clip. And I'll tell you more about these leaves if you didn't see the video I did on making faux fall leaves. And this is probably one of my favorite inserts. This one is got another altered paper clip, and then I sparkled up the flowers. These are cornflowers, and then at Hobby Lobby I found these faux dried cornflowers. They look like cornflowers and they look real, but they're actually made out of I don't know what that fabric is, but they're kind of fabric flowers. And then I just put that on the back so that the paper clip could be a little more concealed. But can you see I fussy cut the little image of the fairy out of one of my fairy books and made it look like she's bending down and smelling the flower. This is another one of those faux ones, so it's three-dimensional. And then inside there's a flower fairy postcard. So I had to take a lot of these things out. I had them clipped with little Tim Holtz clips and all kinds of things that were just gonna make this journal weigh about 10 pounds, and I knew I couldn't do that. So I didn't want you not to get to see these. I'm going to tuck that one in. And now, oh, here's one more tag, which I'll probably still put in the journal. It's not going to take up much room. But I love doing, I fussy cut the little vintage fairy with the butterfly wings and then mounted her on another butterfly. Oh, and then these circles are part of the Friday freebies that G. Kerr, Happiness and Crafting, has. And she's just so generous to always give us her Friday freebies almost every week. And so I like to use them. I print them out, and I was happy to get to use them for this. So if you've had a chance to go grab a cup of tea and you want to visit with me, I would love to take some time to take you through this journal, because again, it was probably the most fun I've had putting together a journal maybe ever. So, although I do love making journals, especially for swaps and for other people. So this is the back, and this is my take on doing a crazy quilt, because I just patterned out different of those little upholstery swatches, and I wanted it to all kind of have autumn colors, but I wanted to find a way to put some pink in there. And so I found this really pretty plaid piece that has some pink in it. And this is a rust orange, and this one has some swirly patterns. And then I always like to add some rustic burlap or twine. And so I've got this burlap kind of hemp trim. And then I like the elegant, beautiful golden colored lace here. And then just to keep it kind of, well, let me show you the spine. This is the spine, and I sewed the signatures in, but I covered it with some more of that embroidery fabric, and then more of the hemp trim. And then to keep it kind of whimsical, I put a pretty lace tie around it, and kind of lightened it up a little bit by doing that. And this is the front, and I have a canvas little sentiment that just says imagine, and I stitched it with some black trim. This velvet, which feels so nice, is from a very old ribbon that was on a really old vintage dress, and so it's a very nice velvet, and I loved putting that there. And anything that's fairy or enchanted forest, I think it has to have a lot of natural element, but it also has to have some sparkle. So that's why I put this line of rhinestone sparkle. And then at the very last minute, I only had the little white daisy appliques, and then I added the ecru kind of golden brown colored gems. And these I Mod Podged on, fussy cut out of some of my fairy books. And I might add, I also had the best time going through my fairy books. I have about 6 or 7 of them, and I just took the liberty of snipping out some of the images, which was really kind of fun. I don't mind doing that. And so this guy is kind of hiding there, but I put a little bit of Wink of Stella on the wings, and he's sitting up against the tree trunk. And even though this tree trunk came out of a different book than the fairy, I just managed to find him in a sitting position and tucked him on there, so it looks like it's all one image, but it's actually 2 separate fussy cut pieces. And then I have the leaves that are fall leaves from a garland that I made, and they were just the right size, so they're kind of little silk leaves that I attached, and I like how they kind of stand out on the plaid. And I'm just jabbering because I'm just so excited about all the details, so I'm sorry if it's a little long-winded. Feel free to fast forward. This is one of my favorite mushrooms, and again, it's fussy cut, and I just added leaves around it. So I will get started now and try to go a little faster. Not too long ago, Evie did a video on a masterboard where she collaged, and I did a video where I made this actual masterboard, but I decided to use it for the inside flap and the back flap of the journal cover. And the journal cover I just made out of some chipboard and covered it with the crazy quilting on the outside, and then the masterboard pieces on the inside. And this paper is from Craft Consortium. I love that paper line. And then I have had these leaf or little doily things forever. and they end up in my journals now and then, but this is just a folded piece of tea dyed paper that tucks in here, and then this is mounted just for decoration. And then I made this pretty little garland with punched leaves to trim the edge of the pocket. And then on the other side, it's the back of the paper line, and then the contrasting leaves. And then a page for journaling, which is just some, parchment paper. This is an envelope where you can tuck things in. I really wanted to make one of those flat pens, but I just didn't get a chance. This is a Tim Holtz wallpaper die cut and a little bit of cheesecloth. And this was gifted to me, and I can't remember from who, but it's a beautiful canvas type washi tape. This is that Tim Holtz tissue paper that I have a whole roll of it, and so I like to add that into my journals when I can. This is the really pretty paper line, and there's journaling space. And like I showed you, I just put little sayings and sentiments on some of the pages, and maybe as a journaling prompt, so that you can write up, enjoy a quiet moment. Maybe it'll make everyone just sit and write and have a quiet moment. Excuse me, I'm going to take a little sip of my tea. And so then there's this one. I love how soft and inviting these images are on each page, and I just kind of deckled the edges and added some kind of antiqued or inked the edges. This one I love the saying, "Listen to the trees whisper." And then this is a beautiful image that I got in a free printable online, and this is a Tim Holtz sentiment that says, "To Dreamland." And you can flip it up and journal on both parts actually. And then there's a little card that I attached, and it said, "Sentiment is the definition of blessed." And it flips open so that you can journal. More tea-dyed paper, and I love this print. It's very vintage, very, I don't know, looks like a old time wallpaper. And I put what is her name? Edith Holden book page in here, and it reminds me of the era of Edith Holden, and so these colors really tied in, I thought, with this page. But it's got fall leaves, and that's appropriate for the theme. And it says "Capture the Moment," so I thought maybe Evi could put pictures on these pages since they're so decorative. It could just be like a background paper. Then I have a castle here, which is a journaling card, and I put some paper, mounted some paper on the back and stitched around it, and I just love that image of that castle, so that's why I put "Once Upon a Time." And then this pocket is from a little 6x6 paper pad that I have, and this is Fairy Friends. I don't know if you can see the doily on there, but it's a paper doily that I mounted on some parchment paper. Just make it a little more durable because it's a pocket and you can put things in there. And then it's got tea-dyed paper on the back, and just it's my husband's clock. It's got some eyelash trim and that really pretty rust-colored seam binding. I'll slide this one down a little, and then this little corner pocket flips up, and there's tea-dyed paper, so you can journal under there if you'd like. And then I also have a little clip. Is that holding anything down? I don't think it was, so I'll just show it to you. It's a pretty little tiny clothespin clip. And so thank you for indulging me. Well, I hope you can still see my lighting's set up kind of went boom, so I don't know that I've got it set up the same way. Anyway, I've got this beautiful flower fairy, and it says feel the wind. And when you open this came directly out of one of my books, and it says the song of the heather fairy, and there's just a little verse there about that. And then this one has the dandelion puffs, so I put the saying make a wish. And then these are more of the papers from the paper line. Let's see, there's one. I just love these with the leaves, and you can journal on them. And then it says she wondered if she was dreaming. Doesn't that look dreamy? I think it looks quite dreamy. And there's the other Tim Holtz tissue paper, and then a little craft paper envelope with some tags inside. I won't pull them out. This is one of the woven pieces I made a few years ago, where I just wove with strips of paper and put some little mushroom decals and the sentiment or definition that says wonderful. And then this is some vellum from the Tim Holtz pack of vintage vellum, and then I made this sweet little tag like the blue one I showed you with the angel and the butterfly wings. And I put a little eyelet and some eyelash trim on there, and she tucks in there. And then this one's very understated, just a butterfly at the hinge, and this says the simple things, and you can journal on that. And then this short little piece of tea-dyed paper flips open, and there's a music note paper pocket with a sweet little mushroom tag. But she can tuck, you know, whatever she wants in there. So I tried not to overload the pockets, one, because I didn't want it to be too thick, but two, she can put what she'd like in the pockets. And so here's another garland with the twine and the little leaves that I used my punch and punched them out. Same on this side. And I like that it's kind of tactile and you can feel it. I have this package of these faux stamps that I've been wanting to use. They're very three-dimensional, and so I stuck one of those there. This is one of my favorite pages. It says withered leaves about your feet. And this is another one where I fussy cut the fairy, and because the fairy was in a sitting position, I was able to put it on like she's sitting on a pile of leaves. And then this has got a brad, so you can turn it and journal under where that card is, or you can take it off because there's tea-dyed paper on the back. But it's also holding down a little bundle of my faux fall leaves, and I did these by photocopying real colored leaves onto parchment paper, and it gave them that crunchy sound just like fall leaves. And I just attached them with an eyelet and some eyelash trim, and I just used green for the contrast. But I hope you like these, Evie. I loved making these fall leaves, and if it's a hot summer day and you're longing for the sound of crunching leaves, then maybe you can come and just rummage through your journal and have a little reminder of a crisp fall day. Then the next page is just some tea-dyed paper with some of that tissue paper image on there. This is from a really old stationery tablet that I have. Some more tea-dyed paper, another one of those really pretty faux cornflowers, and some eyelash trim, and it's sort of to pick up the purple in this digital print. This one says sparkle, and I took some of this really thin chiffon tulle kind of fabric and mounted it on the back of the tissue paper and tucked this pretty fairy tag in there. And then it flips over. Here's the tissue paper, and then there's a really pretty lace trim. It's a pretty decal. And this one is a pocket. I sewed it so that you can slip something in there. This is probably another top 2 favorite page. I love the vivid image of this digital, and I used this in my gypsy journal that I made a while ago. I think I got a little glue on here. I'm gonna go and clean that up. But this is one of those K & Company die cuts, and can you see that sweet little fairy? It was another one where I cut her out and made it look like she was peeking around the flowers. And these open, and you can journal there. When I don't remember what I did, but at some point it started to bleed through on the other side. I kind of liked that, so anyway, I stitched around it. This is the center of this particular signature, and I don't think I mentioned, but this journal has 3 signatures, and you can flip these open and journal underneath. And then there's that little cornflower with the eyelash trim. And then the other side is a pocket. And this is some beautiful paper. It was a one-of-a-kind paper pad that I got on Etsy, and it apparently was from the Ukraine, but a lady here in the States was selling it, and I purchased it from her. And so there was some beautiful, I did a video with one of my pretty paper hauls way back in my videos somewhere, but anyway, it has some of the most gorgeous botanicals in that paper pack, and then it just says a walk in Wonderland and journaling space. And then the other side of that tissue paper, and I added a little fussy cut bumblebee right there. I don't know if you can see it. It's more of that really pretty trim. And I added another pocket, and I think I'd like to stick a couple of tea bags in there for Evie. This is a little fabric flip, but it's made with a piece of ribbon, and since it's autumn themed, I thought I would put the word thankful, because in the States we celebrate Thanksgiving during autumn. That's the definition of autumn. I'm thankful. This flips up so you could journal underneath. And there's a little butterfly there. I've held it on with a little tiny Quilt pen. And this is more of the digital. You can see there's a big opening there for, I think that's where I'm going to stash the little notebook. Yeah, I think that'll be a nice spot for that. And then more tea-dyed paper. Take another sip here. And more of the digital. It's another little sentiment. Take time to wonder. Here's another one of my hidden little fairies peeking over the edge. And it looks like she's wondering maybe, so I thought that would be a cute sentiment to add because of the fairy. She's sort of pondering. I like this page too. This has got more of the garland where I punched out leaves and attached them to the twine, and then this opens. It's more of a tuck spot than an opening because I wanted the bow to stay down, but you could tuck some things under that flap. Let's see if I'm in frame. And then this is a pretty fall washi that I like to use. A little bit of the twine. And then this is another tuck spot and some tea-dyed paper for journaling. And this was an invitation, and I just covered up the words for the invitation and altered it a little bit. And so this is a little butterfly that comes apart with Velcro. So you can flip it open and journal there, and then close it back up with the Velcro. This is another tuck spot, and then the word pretty, and more tea-dyed paper for journaling. And there's a little bit of damask print paper. This is that beautiful paper that I'm almost all out of. It's got the embossed kind of, or inlaid looking ferns and flowers. I don't know how they did that, but it's just so pretty. It's one of my favorite papers. And I think I picked that up at a thrift store when we lived out in Arizona, so I'm not sure I'll ever find that again. But I still like to tuck it in a journal here and there. And then I put a little decal here on this little fold, and then on the Tim Holtz cutout there. And even on the Tim Holtz cutouts, I try to fussy cut around some of that white border, so there's not so much of it. And this is just a little tuck spot from one of my fairy books. I just cut it out and attached it sort of like a tab. And then there's a little journaling card, and this is a poem about autumn. And you can journal on the back. I love this print paper. This also came from Craft Consortium. Tucks in there. This is a plain green journaling space. This is another piece of the Tim Holtz vellum. And I love the bird's nest. This is a pretty little image. I don't know if you can see, but I like to use this one a lot, and I often will write the word ponder, and she's sitting in the forest, and it just says be your best friend, and it's got some pages for journaling, and it tucks down in this fun little pocket, so you could journal here. You can add more tags. It's got that wood grain paper for the cover. Another pretty pocket with that trim, which is seam binding, the little crochet trim, a little bit of floral ribbon or paper ribbon. This is another little card that I made. I can't remember what it said underneath, but I just added one of the Graphic 45 cards, stickers on top, and then this opens more of that ribbon and some journaling space. It's a really pretty tiny little washi tape. This is a fun little piece. It's just some iridescent tissue paper. It flips over like that. More of that paper. Another tiny little strip of washi tape. This is another one of my favorites. I'm not going to undo it, but it comes apart, and then there's that sweet image of a deer. Look at the ears. It's just the cutest thing. And there's some tea-dyed paper on the back, and then a journaling card from the Woodland Friends paper line. This is a double pocket, so you can stick things behind it, and then there's another little pocket because this is sort of a double layer, so you could tuck several things, one in the back and one right here. Sorry, it's very crooked. And then I just have a ruched paper piece of ribbon there. Another really I kind of went butterfly crazy on this one, and you can open this, and inside excuse me, there's a tiny little tea-dyed notebook. It says treasures. So that tucks in there, and I just made this envelope out of a piece of dictionary paper. Excuse me. And I use the word escape because when you want to fly away like a butterfly, it's like you're escaping. Anyway, that's my thought. Might mean something else to someone else. And this is on some of that real heavy parchment paper, the authentic stuff. And then another pocket with a little note card that you can journal on, and it opens up and it says enjoy every moment. And then some of these, I don't know if I showed you, but these are little paint swatch cards that came with the names on them. This one was called Morning Tea, and I just put one of the K & Company die cuts on there. But I have fun using those little paint swatch cards as tags. And this one has a tuck spot, and this was bear paint, because you can see the little bear in the bottom. That's a brand. I don't know if that's everywhere, but it's a popular brand here. And then some more journaling or digitals. And I actually think I'm at the end. Excuse me. I am. So this is the back of the master board that I made. The back cover. So I know I took quite a while getting you through this. I'll show you my tassel too, because the tassel, let me see, I think I'd do well to just take it off. The tassel has quite a few, well, I'm not going to be able to get it off, so let's see if I can show you well enough by leaving it. Anyway, they represent fall by the color scheme, and the forest by, there's an owl. If you can see Mr. Owl here. There's an owl. And then there's a butterfly, and I love the butterfly because it's got like a patina, like it's a copper almost. And then there is a key, which I would like to think is a key to the Magic Kingdom. And then there's a bird's nest with a pretty little pearl charm. I don't know if you're going to see that very well. And I think I have a couple more. What else do I have? I have one, well, I have the little handmade with love heart. And this one, a sparkly, I call it a bumpy bead, but it's for the fairy. And then a really pretty golden tassel. It's very silky. These, I believe, were gifted to me by the lovely Jacqueline Haley. Hello, Miss Jacqueline. I hope you're well. And then this is sort of like a boho bead. I bought these in a little pack. It's like a time, like a letter in a bottle almost. There's some script paper, and it's twisted with beaded wire. And a lot of this I just attached with little bulb pins. Anyway, I love the tassel, and I hope you like it too, Evie. I'm going to stop jabbering now. Thank you for indulging me as I show off my journal that just made me so happy to create. I think it's really fun to do swaps, especially with crafters that you really respect and appreciate, and honestly feel like Evie is a friend. We've really been able to stay in touch over the last several years through crafting, but I will admit it's hard to part with them. I'm sure Evie feels the same way when you invest so much time and attention into each page. It's sad to see them go. I'm very happy with who it's going to, and I know she'll take really good care of it and hopefully love it as much or more than I do. And so I wanted to share it with you before I send it off, and I plan on sending it off tomorrow. We've had this swap in the making for, I think, before Christmas, well before Christmas. And I like working that way because it takes the pressure off. To rush, you can just take your time, and most crafters, if they're running out of time, will just say, hey, I need a little more time, because nothing's worse than creating something in a hurry. If you take your time, it's more of an enjoyable process, and I think it shows in your work, so I hope she loves it. Sometimes I'm talking as if I'm talking directly to you, Evie, and then other times as if I'm not, so I'm sorry about that. But as I said, I'll get it in the mail tomorrow. I'm looking forward to you receiving it, and I hope you'll use it, enjoy it. I made it so that it'll be used. I hope you'll feel comfortable writing on the pages and putting in your own ephemera and your own pictures. So there you go. Thanks for watching, everybody. It sure was fun, and I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. I'll be back again with another video soon, but until then, be well. Bye.